ACEM 954, the voice of truth, the official radio station of the Church of Christ or Iglesianicristo.
Ready? Okay. Good luck. And for the room, let's check where we're at.
What time? Ready?
Please continue to submit your greetings and we'll be sure to read them throughout the show. Back to you, Sister Macy.
Welcome back to another episode of Explore Mountain States.
That's it for the weather
And
update.
moving on to our district news update.
Only here.
On INCRadio Mountain States.
And live to INCRadio Mountain States. Happy Saturday to all of those here in the west side of the world, and a good morning, happy Sunday to those on the east side. I am your host for today, Sister Princess Rosano, broadcasting live from Las Vegas, Nevada. We're so excited to always have you joining us here on INCRadio Mountain States, and we hope that you continue to stay engaged with us, especially through today's topic, as we discuss reset mode, preparing for the new year. And for today's episode, we have a goal with setting a gentle productivity for the new year, right? We want to be productive, but we also want to avoid burnout. So to plan productivity, especially intentionally and especially our resolutions for this new year, we want to look at ways where we can set new habits and reset ourselves for the new year. If you are watching today on YouTube, just be sure to subscribe to our INCRadio DZEM 954 channel. Be sure to also hit our notification bell so that you can get a notification anytime INCRadio Mountain States tunes on, and continue to leave your comments and your greetings with us, especially throughout the show. That way we can give your local congregation a shout out for supporting us here today. Right now it is currently 3:03 p.m. Pacific time, 4:03 Mountain time, and I believe it is in the morning in the Philippines, if I can get my time. It is 7:03 a.m. in the Philippines. So we can move forward with today's topic. Again, today's topic is reset mode, preparing for the new year. So as we say goodbye to the year of 2025, which is wild, 2025, we also say goodbye to our old habits that we want to leave behind, especially those that did not work out for us or did not benefit us. So join us today as we reset and prepare to welcome the new year with new goals and new habits, which, by the way, I just want to touch on that it is, again, 2025. I cannot believe that we've already met the last week of the year. December 27 here for us. And I just want to express our gratitude on behalf of the whole INCRadio Mountain States family for everyone's constant support in joining us every weekend on INCRadio Mountain States. I know my face has not been shown in the past couple of months as we've been very busy preparing for our year end, but we want to thank everybody so much for continuing to support us even throughout the busy seasons and through the lulls that we have through the years. Whenever you have a break, whenever you're driving home, even driving to work or driving on your destination to wherever you're going, we're so happy that you're always tuning in with us and listening with us, engaging with us, and supporting us here on INCRadio Mountain States. We really hope that you continue to do that with us here, especially as we enter the new year of 2026. Every year we say thank you so much, and every year we can never thank you enough. So thank you for always staying here with us, supporting us on INCRadio Mountain States. For our chat right today, I want to see if we have anybody tuned in to INCRadio Mountain States greeting us. Let's go ahead and see right here. We have Brother Ron saying, hello, everyone. Advance Happy New Year. And hello from Sister Nikki. I missed all of you as well. As you said, it's our last podcast of the year. So thank you for staying with us every Saturday here on INCRadio Mountain States. If you don't have any friends or family who are tuned in to our chat or to view the show today, excuse me, please make sure you send them the link to watch our show. That way we can have a nice discussion on our topic for today. So as I mentioned earlier, we are in reset mode. It's always nice to reset for the new year. I like to reset every few months, at least at the end of every quarter. But it is always the big reset when you go into a new year. You reflect on this past year, what you've been able to accomplish and what has helped you with those successes. And a lot of those successes are rooted in structure and in our habits, right? So whenever we have a goal we set out to in the beginning of the year, we always have a way to hit our milestones or hit those goals. So we can want to reflect and see what habits have we been able to have, what habits have been beneficial for us, and what habits didn't work out so much for us. So we'll go ahead and dive straight into our topic. So I want to go into what habits did not work out for us. So in reflection, when we're looking at our habits and we're thinking, what should we change? We want to identify what did not work out for us. For myself, excuse me, for habits that I know I have, one consistent habit that I've always had, even throughout my grade school, was procrastination. It really has to do with time management. When you wait till the last minute, you feel like you have more than enough time, but oftentimes you don't have enough time to set out to do the goals that you've set out to do, right? And so for myself, what ends up making me procrastinate is giving myself too much time to do something. So for example, if I had a deadline to submit something for work, right? I take a look at the work, analyze it, and then I give myself the time to do it. I notice that my habit is I know how much time it takes me to do something, so my deadline will give me that amount of time. What I don't always give time or room for are anything like a challenge or anything that might distract me from completing the task at hand. So I think for myself, when it comes to time management and avoiding procrastination, I want to make sure that I give enough time to complete the task, along with keeping in mind or considering anything that might stray me off the task at hand. Excuse me. For example, for students, right, you have like a 5-page essay you need to write. If you know that it takes you 1 week to study and then another week to be able to complete and edit and revise all your work, I would probably give myself twice as much time, or at least an extra week. So if I know I have an important essay due at the end of the month, I would probably give myself the entire month to complete it, right? Especially you want to give yourself time and consideration of all the things that are happening in your life, because your sole task, right, doesn't just include your assignment, but it also includes everything else around you, right? What other assignments do you have? Who in your life do you have to give your time to? What other obligations do you have in this life, right? What obligations do you have in certain aspects, whether it be your social life, your duties, your school life, your work life. So I think the best way to avoid procrastination, and this is completely by experience, is to give yourself more than enough time. Because more often times than not, when you give yourself the enough time, you tend to fall off the tracks if you just give yourself that tight space, right? So you want to give yourself ample time in considering other factors that are in your life that doesn't just have to do with the task at hand, right? Now, before we talk more about this, I do want to go on a short station break. But before we go on a station break, I want to give all of you some time to think about, what are habits that you have that have worked out for you this year, habits that have not worked out for you this year. And I'm also going to give all of you viewers some time to send the link to your friends and family. That way we can be engaged in our live chat, and then have a few friends here to discuss with the topic, just so that we can have more insight rather than just my own insight on this topic today. So please send this link out to your friends and family who aren't already watching. Please continue to stay tuned. We'll be on a short station break, but when we come back, once again, we'll continue our topic on resetting and talking about our habits through the year and into the new year. We'll be right back.
When was the last time you made someone smile? When was the last time you made friends with others?
Yes, please. Hi, this is Amaya. Hello, Amaya. Let's play together.
Include, invite, befriend. A small gesture of friendship can make someone's day. A message from INCRadio Mountain States Satellite Studio.
Ready to discover your new favorite INC original music? Introducing Playlist. Tune in every Monday to Friday from 9 to 10 p.m. for a musical journey like no other. Genres like R&B, acoustic, alternative, love songs, rock, pop, hip-hop, and rap. Each day brings you a different genre of INC original music tailored to match your mood. Looking for the perfect soundtrack to your day? We've got you covered. Join our hosts as they bring you the freshest hits, timeless classics, and everything in between. Catch Playlist live on INC Radio DZM 954 kHz, on the INC Radio YouTube channel, and on the INC Production Company's Facebook page. Set your reminders, spread the word, and don't miss a bit with Playlist. And remember, it's your music, your playlist. See you there!
You are listening to Iglesianicristo Radio, the voice of truth.
And we are back here on INCRadio Mountain States, currently 3:13 p.m. Pacific time. And we want to thank you for again staying here with us on INCRadio Mountain States. Now, in talking about our topic for reset mode, right? You've identified what your old habits are. You're kind of looking into what you want for your new habits, right? But before we look at what habits should I begin to build, you want to take a look at your goals, right? So what kind of goals do you have for the new year? Sometimes it becomes overwhelming when you have a list of New Year's resolutions, right? I know for myself, when I list up a load of things, let's say even 10 things for myself to do for the new year, it can be overwhelming. Even though the new year is 12 months, 365 days, what did I say earlier? You need to give yourself some time, okay? So just because you have 10 goals, that doesn't mean that it takes a whole entire year to achieve those 10 goals, right? Sometimes it might take a whole year to achieve just 1 or 2 goals, okay? So one thing we need to do is look at our list of goals and prioritize what is something you want to accomplish the most. And let's just look at that one goal, right? So what is one goal you want to be able to achieve, okay? How can we reset our old habits that did not work for us, or modify it, or even simplify it so that it can help us achieve our new goal, right? Okay, so everybody, not everybody, okay? The majority of people's goals is, for some reason, let's lose weight, okay? So let's look at that. For me, myself, okay? So thankfully, I had set a goal at the beginning of the year. I honestly didn't start probably until like the middle of the first quarter, the second quarter of the year, right? And my goal isn't necessarily to just lose weight, but it's to just be more healthy, to be fit. Also, I got married this year and I wanted to look nice in my dress. So I will just share this with all of you, but I did lose some weight, right? I don't think I need to tell you how many pounds I lost, but enough for me to be happy with what I did, okay? And I looked at habits, right? What habits do I have? What habits do I need to, modify or change and in order to reach my goal, okay? So for myself, specifically for this goal, this is not advice to you. This is just what worked for me. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a dietitian or a nutritionist. But for me, I knew that I like to eat food and I like to go out with my friends, okay? So instead of the habit of completely going cold turkey and then going on a super green diet and just eating, the smallest amount, or just eating solely greens and proteins, I wanted to keep how I ate the same. That's just for me, because I knew that in the past, my old ways of trying to achieve my goal to become more healthy, it didn't work out because I completely did a 180 on my lifestyle and how I ate or what my eating habits were. So what I modified it to be was this year, I just decided to portion things out, but still eat the food I love. That way it's a win-win because yes, I still get to eat the foods that I love. And two, I was losing weight. So thankfully I lost enough weight for me to look or feel nice in my dress, right? So when I was eating my junk food, I just, portioned it out. When I ate my sweets, I did not get rid of my sweet tooth. I just portioned it out. So I think that is one example to look at, right? This is, again, just my personal experience that it helped me to achieve my goal, right? I modified rather than just going cold turkey and switching my diet a complete 180. I kept my diet the same, but I decided to instead just modify it and simplify it to just portion control, but still eat what I want and still go out. Maybe not as frequently as every other day, right? But maybe like once a day. Oh, excuse me, not once a day. Well, like once a week or on special occasions, right? Just to enjoy quality time with my friends and enjoy food while we eat together, right? Another goal for myself was to plan a wedding. That's a big goal, right? So with this, again, in taking consideration of my old habits of procrastinating, I took a look at what can I modify in my habits of planning events, right? I've already had the experience in being in District Kadiwa, thankfully, and being part of the Christian Family Organization. And so with these offices, I'm grateful to have had the time and the experience to understand the efforts there are to put into planning big events, big activities. So the biggest event of my personal life up until this point was my wedding with Brother Andrew. So I'm looking at that. What habits did I need to shift and modify to not procrastinate and wait for things to become the last minute? One, to ask for help. And thank you to all of my beautiful, wonderful friends who helped me and my family. And two, to be able to break things up into things that I knew were achievable within a shorter amount of time, right? So let's say I started planning my wedding at the beginning of this year, even though I was engaged last year summer, right? I only had a certain amount of time from January to September, really from January to August to plan a lot of things. It was 8 months, okay? And instead of saying in 8 months, I want to have this, and this done, I looked at the year and I looked at the calendar and I looked at what I needed to do with Brother Andrew. And we said, we need to accomplish this and probably this by the end of the first month. And then by the third month, we need to have this, and this done. When you're breaking it down, you're simplifying it, you're modifying your habits or the way you're achieving your goals, it really helps. That way, when you meet the end of your deadline, and it's August, it's the beginning of September, and we looked at our list of everything we did, which was a lot, right? It was a lot. And I could probably show you our to-do list, which we happen to keep on our phones, which, by the way, keeping track is important, right? We have 119 items completed, right? And they're broken up into portions, right? Into bits. I think it's important that when you have a way of organizing things, simplifying them, and then breaking it down, your goal is more achievable. And I didn't even know we had 119 items completed, but we broke it down. Groom, bride, couple, what the venue, what items we needed. So if you need help planning your wedding, please don't ask me. That was very stressful and I don't want to do it again. But my advice to you is to break it down and simplify it, right? And lastly, when you're looking at your goals, right? Overall, especially when we're looking at our goals for the new year, whether your goals are events to plan or habits to change within yourself, or just things you want to do for your family. I think the most important thing to look at personally when looking at your goals, right, is what is your end goal? What is the intention behind the goal, right? And once you find that why, right, you're able to find what version of yourself you want to be by the end of this set goal, right? Especially by the end of 2026. I think ultimately when we're making goals for ourselves, it's really to improve who we are, to better ourselves in this life, and to just better ourselves in general, right? Do I want to be better at this for this, or do I want to be better at that for that, right? For myself, I included spiritual goals, even though I felt that there were things in my life I felt were going well. There's always going to be room for improvement. So how can I bring myself closer to God, right? Is a goal, right? And what is your intention of this goal, right? That's just an example. If we're looking at your faith aspect, right? If you're looking at your health, I want to be healthier, and these are the things I want to do to be healthy. Why? What is the intention? I want to take care of my body. I want to feel good. I want to be able to use my body to be with my family, to be with my parents, to be with my kids, to be with my friends, right? Or, when you're planning events like my wedding, right? What was the intention of that? I want to have a good time and celebrate with the people I love, have this quality time and be together with the person I married, right? I want to be able to plan a big event for my kids. What's the intention and the why? And I believe once you start to figure out what the why of it is, and you have an easier time in modifying these habits that don't work for you, and you modify them to work for you, to better yourself and being able to accomplish these goals, right? So when we're looking at the new year, right, the new year isn't about changing everything at once. It's not about changing yourself and, by January 1st, I'm going to be a completely different version of myself. I'm going to be a completely different, have a different personality. And believe that being different will be better, right? That's not necessarily the reality of it, right? When you're changing things from your previous year and you're reflecting on what did not work out, your goal is to better yourself for the new year. And when you have these goals, they're to make yourself better, to be a better example to your family, to your friends, to officers you may perform with, right? Excuse me. And so having these clear goals, right, not to necessarily change yourself, right, but to better yourself, and simplifying these habits start to create this momentum at the beginning of the year, right? And when you're consistent, even through small steps, through breaking it down, they lead to growth, right? As eventually your accomplishments and these achievements of these small tasks to lead up to your big goal and reaching those milestones allow you to accomplish something big, right? And this big goal that you may have is what allows us to be better, right? With whatever your goal is in life, right? Resetting with our intention allows us to step forward, right? Especially being more disciplined, being more confident, especially in the progress that we continue to build to better ourselves, right? But of course, of all things, and the most important, right, when you do have a goal in mind and you set your goal and you continue to modify your habits to achieve your goal and you continue to take steps to progress, the ultimate and most important thing and being we should remember is our Almighty God, right? So when you're setting your goals, please don't ever forget to ask Him for guidance, because our Almighty God is going to be the one who will guide us, who will help us, and who will allow us to be able to perfect our plan, right? And even if it does not go our way, God's plan is the ultimate plan. So at the end of the day, right, no matter what happens, your plan will be perfect through Him, right? Because His plan is always perfect for us. So just please remember that, especially going into the new year. We're so excited to see all of you and watch all of you achieve your new goals for the new year of 2026. It's amazing how far we've come together and as individuals as well. Continue to please always stay supportive of one another. And we're grateful for your support here on INCRadio Mountain States. And of course, we ask you to always tune in with us, even for the new year, especially for the new year. We're still on every Saturday, don't forget. So join us again next Saturday at 3 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. And continue to always stay tuned with us. I'm going to see if we have any more friends who happen to join us throughout the show and took my advice in sending the link to your family and friends. And it looks like we do have some viewers here. So we want to give some shout outs to Michael. Thank you so much for joining. And then Camario says, good morning here in the Philippines. Enjoy watching on INCRadio Mountain States. Greetings from local of Bringstonville, District of Caloocan North. So thank you. And then Olive, hi mom, watching from South Las Vegas. So thank you to all of those who were able to tune in. Remember, you can always rewatch our shows here on INCRadio Mountain States if you send the link from the YouTube channel. And of course, we always want to give our special thank yous to our beloved church administration, most especially Brother Eduardo V. Manalo, our executive minister, and then Brother Angelo Aranyo Manalo, our deputy executive minister, Brother Manly Andaya, our executive producer, Brother Barrington I. Thompson, our district minister, Brother Oliver Canlas, our assistant district minister, Brother Jay Agustin, our CFO overseer, our district multimedia team, and all of the avid listeners here on INCRadio Mountain States. Now, that is all the time that we have for today. But again, thank you so much for all of your time, especially in supporting INCRadio Mountain States throughout this past year of 2025. We've had our ups, we've even had some downs, but through it all of you have been constantly supporting us, and we hope to continue to see your support through the new year. And who knows, maybe eventually some of you may join us here on INCRadio Mountain States. Thank you so much for always watching and listening to INCRadio Mountain States. Please continue to stay tuned to INC Radio, especially INC Radio DZEM 954, changing lives through God's words. Up next is going to be INC Radio Canada. Thank you so much, everyone. Bye. Happy New Year.
This is INC Radio, DZEM 954, the voice of truth, the official radio station of the Church of Christ or Iglesia ni Cristo.